Now, in the previous video, we had discussed trigonometric ratios basics. In continuation of that, there are few more points in basics. We'll discuss those points and then we'll try to discuss some very good questions of this basic chapter of trigonometric ratios. Now, the first point is domain and range of 6 trigonometric functions. Domain and range of 6 trigonometric functions. Now, the meaning is if f of x is any function, if f of x is any function, okay. Now, what is the meaning of domain? What is the meaning of domain? If f of x is any function, domain means all the values which x takes. Domain means all the values which x takes, so that the given function is well defined. And range means all the values which f of x takes. All the values which f of x takes. So therefore, in this table which I have drawn, if fx is sin x, if fx is sin x, if fx is sin x, then domain means all the values which x takes. So therefore, domain of sin x is R and x can take all real numbers, and range means all the values which sin of x takes. So therefore, the range of sin x is -1 to +1. That means maximum value of sin x, maximum value of sin x maximum value of sin x is +1 and minimum value will be -1. Minimum value of sin x is -1. Range means all the values which sin x takes between maximum and minimum. Similarly, cos function, domain is R, range is -1 to +1. Okay. Range of tan is R, domain is R minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, where n belongs to z. So, actually tan x means sin x by cos x. So remember, cos x cannot take odd multiples of 90, because if cos x takes odd multiples of 90, denominator becomes 0, because cos 90, cos 270, so on, they are 0. Tan x will not be defined. That is why x cannot take odd multiples of 90 in domain of tan x. That is why domain of tan x is all real numbers minus 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. N belongs to z. N is an integer. Range of tan x is R. Similarly, when it is cot function, it is cos x by sin x. And again, x cannot take in cot function multiples of pi, because sin x becomes 0, cot x will be undefined. Therefore, in domain of cot x, if you observe, it is all real numbers excluding multiples of pi. N belongs to z. Range is R. Now, when it comes to secant function, domain of tan and domain of secant both are same, because in secant function also we are having cos x in the denominator. So therefore, domain of tan and domain of secant will be same. And very important point here is, if you observe, cos x range is -1 to +1. Now if you observe secant x range, here it is -infinity to -1 union 1 to infinity. Now the reason for this is, since secant x is a reciprocal of cos x, if cos x lies between -1 and +1, secant x should not lie between minus 1 and plus 1. That is why range of secant x, if you observe, it takes all values which are not between minus 1 and plus 1. Now if you see cosecant x domain and cot x domain, both are same. The reason for this is cosecant x is 1 by sin x, and sin x should not be 0, otherwise cosecant x is not defined. Therefore, in the range, in the domain of cosecant x, x cannot take multiples of pi. And in the range of cosecant x, which is minus infinity to minus 1, union 1 to infinity, because it is reciprocal of sin x. This is very, very important point as far as domain and range of 6 trigonometric functions is concerned. Okay. Now the second basic point is very, very, very important. Trigonometric ratios of allied angles. Now what do you mean by allied angles? Minus theta, 90 minus theta, 90 plus theta, 180 minus theta, 180 plus theta. Now these are called allied angles. So trigonometric ratios related with these allied angles. So for example, sine of minus theta, remember it is minus sine theta. Cos of minus theta is cos theta. Tan of minus theta is minus tan theta. Cot of minus theta is minus cot theta. Secant of minus theta is secant theta. Cosecant of minus theta is minus cosecant theta. Now just observe, here only cos function and secant function, these two are having plus sign, remaining all four ratios are having negative sign. Now the proof of this, if anybody is interested, they can share in their comments. We can discuss the proof of each of these allied angles in our next class also. But please try to remember this rule, very, very important to solve the basic problems. So please go through this table thoroughly. Then after that, we are having complementary angles. Now we all know two angles A and B are said to be complementary if sum of the two angles is what? 90 degrees. And similarly, two angles are said to be supplementary if sum of two angles is 180 degrees. Now after that, a very, very important algebraic identity is root of x square is equal to modulus of x. It is x if x is greater than or equal to 0. Remember, root x square directly we should never write x. We should always write it as mod x. And if you find that number inside the modulus is plus, if it is positive, it will be x. If number inside the modulus is negative, you should write minus x, so that root of x square should always be positive. Minus of negative number is always positive. Very, very important point. Very, very important point. For example, root of cos square 120. We should write it as mod cos 120. Modulus of cos 120. So therefore, this will be equal to number cos 120 is actually negative. Therefore, modulus of cos 120 becomes minus of cos 120. Therefore, it becomes plus half. Because cos 120 is minus. So minus. So ultimately, under root of cos square 120 is always positive. Now after that, one more very, very important concept to solve problems of trigonometric ratios is this componendo and dividendo principle. Now what is this principle? Whenever two ratios are equal, that is if A by B equal to C by D, remember A plus B by A minus B is always equal to C plus D by C minus D. A plus B by A minus B is always equal to C plus D by C minus D. Very, very useful for solving the problems. Very important concept. Then after that, very important result, if A is positive, B is positive, fx is greater than 0, then A into fx plus B by f of x is always greater than or equal to 2 root AB. Now for example, sine square x plus cosecant square x. We can always write it as greater than or equal to 2 root sine square x into cosecant square x. Therefore, it is greater than or equal to 2 because sine square x and cosecant square x, they are reciprocal. Similarly, cos square x plus secant square x means 1 by cos square x. We can write secant square x as 1 by cos square x. So this is something like a into fx plus b by f of x. This is always greater than or equal to 2 into cos square x into 1 by cos square x gets cancelled. Therefore, it will be greater than or equal to 2. Similarly, tan square x plus cot square x. Cot square x means 1 by tan square x. We can straight away write greater than or equal to 2. Very, very useful concept. This concept has come from arithmetic mean of two numbers is always greater than geometric mean. That means a plus b by 2 is called arithmetic mean, is always greater than root ab. Therefore, a plus b is always greater than 2 root ab. This concept has come from am greater than gm. Arithmetic mean is greater than or equal to geometric mean. Then after that, there are some important results, that is sine theta, sine pi plus theta, plus sine 2 pi plus theta, plus so on up to sine n pi plus theta. It is always 0 if n is odd. Now for example, sine theta plus sine pi plus theta plus sine 2 pi plus theta plus sine 3 pi plus theta. Now here n is 3. Here what is n? N is 3. Therefore answer should become 0 because in trigonometric functions of allied angles, sine pi plus theta, we wrote it as minus sine theta. Sine 2 pi plus theta is always sine theta. And sine 3 pi plus theta, we can write it as sine 2 pi plus theta. Therefore, it again becomes minus sine theta. That is why these two will get cancelled, these two will get cancelled. So remember, if you know that n value is odd, remember answer is always 0. If n value is even, answer is always sine theta. Same thing for cos function also. Same thing for cos function also. For example, cos theta plus cos pi plus theta plus cos 2 pi plus theta. Now here n is even. So therefore cos pi plus theta is minus cos theta. Cos 2 pi plus theta is cos theta. So therefore this gets cancelled. Remember, whenever n is even, we told answer is always cos theta. Now these are few very, very basic points in our trigonometric ratios. Now after that, let us try to write some basic identities in trigonometric functions. Now first basic identity is sine square theta plus cos square theta is always equal to 1. Sine square theta plus cos square theta is always 1. Sine square theta plus cos square theta is always 1. Now this we can prove by definition of sine and cos. Similarly, secant square theta plus secant square theta minus tan square theta is always 1. Then after that, cosecant square theta minus cot square theta is also equal to 1. Because Cosecant square theta means 1 by sine square theta. Cot square theta means cos square theta by sine square theta. Therefore, LCM is sine square theta. Numerator is 1 minus cos square theta. So according to the first identity, this is sine square theta by sine square theta. Therefore, it is equal to. Important questions of trigonometric ratios, the basic chapter. Now the first question is find the value of cot pi by 20 into cot 3 pi by 20 into cot 5 pi by 20 into cot 7 pi by 20 into cot 9 pi by 20. Find the value. Find the value of this. Find the value. Now the options given are, first option, is it -1, second option, is it 2, third option, is it half, fourth option, it is 1. Now which option is correct? Now the solution for this, now what you do is cot pi by 20 and cot 9 pi by 20 you take in one bracket. Okay. Cot 3 pi by 20, cot 7 pi by 20 in one bracket, into cot 5 pi by 20 as it is. Now advantage is, if A plus B is equal to pi by 2, if A and plus B is pi by 2, that is complementary angles, cot A into cot B is always equal to 1. This is the rule. Whenever sum of two angles are complementary, that is 90 degrees, cot A into cot B is 1. Therefore, pi by 20, 9 pi by 20. When you add, it is pi by 2. 3 pi by 20, 7 pi by 20, complementary angles, because their sum is pi by 2. 3 pi by 20 and 7 pi by 20, they are called complementary because their sum is, and of course 5 pi by 20, if you simplify, it is pi by 4. Therefore, this is 1, and cot 5 pi by 20 means pi by 4. Cot 45 is also 1. Therefore, the correct answer is fourth option. This is the first basic question of trigonometry based on complementary angles. Now after that, the second very basic question, very useful, is find the value of 2 into sine to the power of 6 theta plus cos to the power of 6 theta minus 3 into sine to the power of 4 theta plus cos to the power of 4 theta plus 1. What is its value? Options are, is it 0? Is it -1? Is it +1? Or is it equal to 2? Very important basic question. Now remember, sine to the power of 6 theta, we can write it as sine square theta whole cube. Cos to the power of 6 theta is cos square theta whole cube plus minus 3 into, this is sine square theta whole square plus cos square theta whole square plus 1. Okay. Now this is in the form of a cube plus b cube. Now remember, a cube plus b cube is a plus b whole cube minus 3ab into a plus b. This is called aq plus bq. Minus 3 into, this is a square plus b square. A square plus b square is a plus b whole square minus 2ab plus 1. Okay. Now just now I told sine square theta plus cos square theta is always 1. Therefore we get 2 into 1 minus 3 sine square theta cos square theta, because this part is also 1, minus 3 into 1 minus 2 sine square theta cos square theta plus 1. Open the bracket, 2 minus 6 sine square theta cos square theta minus 3 plus 6 sine square theta cos square theta. This part gets cancelled. 2 minus 3 is minus 1 plus 1. Answer is very important question. Therefore answer is first option. Now this is the second very basic question of trigonometric ratios. Now the third question is, if cos theta is greater than 0, okay, tan theta plus sin theta is equal to m. Tan theta plus sin theta is m. Tan theta minus sin theta is equal to m. Okay, then we have to find the value of m square minus n square in terms of m and n. We have to find m square minus n square in terms of m and n. Is it 2 root mn? Second option, is it 4 root mn? Is it root mn? Or fourth option is, it is 4 mn. These are the 4 options. What is the value of m square minus n square from these 4 options? Now how to solve this problem? So let us consider m square minus n square. What is m square minus n square? Tan theta plus sin theta whole square minus tan theta minus sin theta whole square. M square minus. Now remember, it is in the form of a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square. Now what is a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square? Do you know? It is always equal to 4ab. So therefore it will be 4 into tan theta into sin theta. This is 4 into sin theta by cos theta into sin theta. This is 4 into sin square theta by cos theta. Okay. This we can write it as 4 into under root of sin to the power of 4 theta by cos square theta. You can take inside the root. Advantage is sin to the power of 4 theta, you can write it as sin square theta into sin square theta by cos square theta. This is 4 into sin square theta into, now sin square theta we all know it is 1 minus cos square theta. Okay. So therefore it is 4 into, now sin square theta by cos square theta, you can write it as tan square theta into 1 minus cos square theta. Now very important point is, if you open the bracket, tan square theta into 1 is tan square theta. Tan square theta into cos square theta is always equal to sin square theta. Now do you know what is the advantage now? Tan square theta minus sin square theta is tan theta minus sin theta into tan theta plus sin theta. Therefore answer is 4 root tan theta plus sin theta is m, tan theta minus sin. Therefore it is 4 root mn. Tan theta plus sin theta is m. Therefore correct answer is second option. So like this we are having several basic questions in trigonometry. Now let me write one more question. Then after that, if you are having any doubt in these basic questions, you can ask. Now very famous question is, if A is not in the second quadrant. A is not in the second quadrant. B is not in the third quadrant. Angle A is not in second quadrant. Angle B is not in the third quadrant. I hope you know the meaning of quadrants discussed earlier. And cos A is equal to minus half. Cos B is also equal to minus half. We have to find the value of 4 sin B minus 3 tan A divided by tan B plus sin A. This is the question. Options given are, is it 1 by 3? Second option minus 1 by 3. Third option 2 by 3. Fourth option minus 2 by 3. Can you solve this basic question of trigonometry? Very, very basic question. Now, one thing you have to know here is A is not in the second quadrant and cos is negative. In the earlier basic points which we have discussed with you, cos is negative only in two quadrants. Which two quadrants? Second and third. Therefore, very clearly, A must be in the third quadrant. A is in the third quadrant. So let us put A in the third quadrant. Now, opposite side length we have to find out. Adjacent side length is 1, hypotenuse length is 2, opposite side length by Pythagoras theorem is root 3. The advantage is in our problem we want to know what is sin A, what is tan A. So therefore from this figure sin A will be equal to minus root 3 by 2. Tan A will be equal to, what will be tan A in the third quadrant? Tan A will be positive. So therefore it will be plus root 3. Okay, very important. Now, cos B is negative. Cos B is what? Negative. And B is not in the third quadrant. So therefore very clearly B must be in which quadrant? Second quadrant, because cos is negative in second and third quadrant. So therefore B is in the second quadrant. This is B. Now the length of adjacent side again 1, hypotenuse is again 2, this will be root 3. So therefore we have to find sin B value. Sin B in second quadrant is always positive. Therefore it will be plus root 3 by 2. Tan B is always negative in the second quadrant. It will be minus root 3. So now substitute the values in 4 sin B minus 3 tan A divided by tan B plus sin A. Therefore this will be 4 into root 3 by 2, okay, minus 3 into root 3 divided by tan B value is minus root 3, sin A value is minus root 3 by 2. Tan B value is minus root 3, sin A value is minus root 3 by 2. Therefore here 2 and this gets, we get here 2 root 3 minus 3 root 3 is minus root 3 divided by minus 2 root 3 minus root 3 by 2 becomes minus 3 root 3 by 2. So root 3 cancels, minus and minus. Therefore answer is 2. Therefore correct answer for the problem is third option. Correct answer for the problem is third. Now one more very, very basic question which we find almost every year in our trigonometric ratios chapter is very basic question. Find the value of Find the value of sine 330 degrees into cos 120 degrees. This is the question based on the values of each function. We have to find the value of each function. We have to find from these four options which is correct. First option is 1, second option -1, third option 2, fourth option -2. Can anybody tell me what is the answer for this? Sine 330 degrees. Cos 120 degrees. Plus cos 210 degrees. Cos 180 minus cos 180 plus 30. Okay. Sine 300 degrees. Sine 360 degrees minus 60. This is minus sine 30. Trigonometric ratios of allied angle. Please go through the table. Minus sine 30. This is again minus sine 30. This is cos 180 plus 30 is minus cos 30 into minus sine 60. Minus half into minus half minus cos 30 degrees minus cos 30 degrees is minus root 3 by 2 into minus root 3. You can put this in brackets. Therefore, this is 1 by 4. This is minus into minus. This becomes plus 3 by 4. Therefore, answer is 4 by 4. Therefore, answer is 1. Therefore, correct option is first one. So like this, in our next video, we can share many more questions of this fundamental chapter and then start compound angles.